Thank you, Phil. Now we come to our last speaker, Gabi Witthaus. She's based at the University of Birmingham. She's a learning design consultant, and she's also doing a PhD on refugees and on online higher education.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to give you all a little handout, if you don't mind. This is my low-tech version.
What am I doing this? The people here?
You can just pass them. Yeah, you can just sort of pass them on. There are more than needed. The handout gives you an opportunity to follow up. Are there any stairs up the...
Do you want one?
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry. And I am recording this. I hope you don't mind. If the recording comes out well, then I'll add that to my blog in case anybody wants to follow this who couldn't actually attend. Am I okay standing here, Ambrose? Okay. So thank you to Ambrose for organising this, and to all the bodies that organised it and all the co-panellists. I'm going to keep this short, but you will be able to continue the conversation with me afterwards based on the links I've given you here. So I have another non-tech visual aid up in the mirror there. I'm going to talk about three, not so much barriers, we've heard a lot about barriers so far, but about three potential solutions to the barriers that have been spoken about. And they all relate to opportunities for refugees and asylum seekers to enter and get through higher education online. So what's on the mirror there is a simplified form of what's in your handout. In the middle of your handout is the heading, Online Higher Education Opportunities for Refugees and Asylum Seekers. And underneath that is a link to a Padlet. Does anyone know what a Padlet is? How many people have used Padlet here? Okay. If you follow that link when you're back home on your laptop or your computer or even on your mobile phone, you'll find it's like a little mind mapping system. And this handout is basically a screenshot of the mind map in its current form. I might still add to it tonight or tomorrow, so it might change. And below that is the link to my blog, where I've written a very short paragraph about what I was talking about tonight. But if you want to follow up on any, I'm going to tell you some what I think are inspirational examples. And if you want to follow up on any of them, the links are there. So I'll sort of work my way around the clock, starting with informal learning then. So in terms of higher education, you can sort of conceptualize it in terms of from informal through non-formal to formal, and I won't get too hung up on those actual definitions now, but informal is generally considered what people do on their own, maybe, a little bit of Googling or support with a friend or through a charity or something, finding useful information. And probably the most useful thing, well no, there are lots of useful things there, but the Open University link in the bottom left-hand corner of your handout is to a report that I recently worked on with the Open University in Scotland. And we basically went through the internet of all the charities that we knew that were supporting refugees, and looked at all City of Sanctuary sites as well, and compiled a spreadsheet with over 500 resources aimed at both refugees and asylum seekers and people supporting refugees and asylum seekers. And that's a report that tells you about what's available, what's needed, and so on. And from that report you'll find the link to the spreadsheet. So that's a really interesting thing if you're working in like frontline support for refugees and asylum seekers. Then there are City of Sanctuary websites. The university, Leicester City has its own City of Sanctuary website, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. I've included the Brighton and Hove website here because you absolutely have to go on it. It's incredible. It's the longest list. Your finger gets almost a bit sore scrolling down. It goes on and on and on, and they've just updated it on, I don't know, about a week ago. And it includes incredible things like an opportunity for refugees and asylum seekers to do Pinglish. And what is Pinglish? When you click on the link, you discover it's ping pong, where you speak English with a native speaker of English to practice your English. Right? So there's lots of good stuff out there, and all this stuff is it's happening in separate little pockets. So that was the aim of the Open University report, was to try and bring it all together and say, we're making it available in one central hub. They're going to develop that into a much more user-friendly resource. So that's informal learning, and that's happening all the time. There are charities all around the UK that have drop-in centres. That some of them offer, laptops or desktop computers, help people with mobile devices to learn informally. In terms of non-formal learning, the word MOOCs came up, I think, when Phil was speaking. Anyone know what a MOOC is? Yeah, Suzanne? Massive?
Massive.
Sorry.
Online open.
Exactly. So MOOCs have been around since about 2009, but they really became a thing in 2012. It was it Times Magazine's Word of the Year in 2012? So MOOCs are, if you just go and Google them, you'll find an incredible array of courses you can do through universities around the world. And many of them now actually offer you university credits. So you can do an exam either in a physical exam centre where you go and you show your ID and you do the exam, or you do the exam online. And you're monitored and invigilated and so on through your web camera. And so MOOCs provide an opportunity for people who are like asylum seekers who are not allowed to go to work, don't have the finances don't have the finances to go to university, and even if they do, they might live too far away. So they offer a very flexible alternative, and there are some bodies now that are working with refugees and asylum seekers, trying to kind of mediate between them and the MOOCs and the institutions that are offering the MOOCs. So probably the best developed one is called Chiron. They're based in Germany. And they've got a big program. They've got 56 partner universities. One of them is the Open University in the UK, but the vast majority of them are universities in Germany. And Chiron has created its own platform where they bring MOOCs from Coursera, edX, FutureLearn and so on onto their platform, provide extra support, online support and face-to-face support around Germany to refugees doing these courses, and they've negotiated with the German universities to allow access to students who get MOOC certificates, so they can basically skip year one and go straight into year two of a university degree. In Ireland, the Athlone Institute of Technology has a drop-in centre. In Ireland, they have these things called direct provision centres, which are kind of like camps. They're kind of like refugee camps. And there is one of these in Athlone. It's got those mobile home units that people live in, and they have a drop-in centre where they provide mentoring and technology and computers and so on for people to do MOOCs. So through MOOCs, people can actually get credits that are recognised at various universities around Europe now. Nettuno in Italy, and in sort of top right-hand corner of the map now, they've just offered 50 scholarships to refugees around the world to do MOOCs, and because all the MOOCs on Nettuno are offered by Italian universities, Nettuno is a consortium of Italian universities that offer distance learning. Any refugee anywhere in the world who does those MOOCs successfully can gain those university credits. Dublin City University is doing the same. And there's a line from MOOCs to distance learning scholarships as well, which I'll come on into in a moment. But Dublin City University is offering scholarships to FutureLearn MOOCs. FutureLearn is the UK platform for MOOCs, and they're offering 20 scholarships that provide access to parts of the MOOC platform that are not free for refugees and asylum seekers. If you're interested in MOOCs for refugees and asylum seekers, the Moonlight Project is a wonderful EU-funded project. The link I've given there on the Padlet takes you straight into a MOOC that you can do. I'm signed up for it already. It starts in January. It's a 5-week MOOC on how to use MOOCs to provide value for refugees and asylum seekers. So that one promises to be really interesting. And because it's an EU project, the team providing it comes from all over the EU. Then we go on to the final one, which is formal learning, and that's what we've heard the most about tonight because people have been talking about traditional degrees. So, as Phil alluded to, and Phil wasn't the only one, there are opportunities for refugees and asylum seekers to benefit from distance learning. Firstly, because they don't have to prove their legal status to live in the country. So that's probably the main one. Secondly, the financial amounts, the numbers we're talking about are much smaller. And thirdly, it's just completely flexible for people who might have family care responsibilities, jobs, all kinds of other things that mature students generally do have. So I'm actually involved in a research capacity with the University of Leicester's School of History, Politics and International Relations, and they've offered 12 distance learning scholarships, sanctuary scholarships, to refugees and asylum seekers around the world. The first 6 started in October, and they're working their way through a master's program. 2 of them are in a refugee camp in Malawi. 1 of them is located in Leicester, but isn't necessarily entitled to remain in Leicester. But if that person has to leave tomorrow, they can continue doing the distance program because it's not based on their residency. The next 6 will start in March. And then Dublin City University is also offering 50 scholarships for distance learning, formal distance learning programs where they can get a certificate worth 60 credits or 60 credits towards a master's degree. So those are just really exciting things that are happening, and if you're interested, follow all the links on my Padlet. Thanks.